Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Revolution Recap. We have a very special podcast for you today with the bent musket. It's a concept we are trying out for the first time and hope to do more of in the future. In most of this episode, you'll hear the voice of Seth Macomber of the bent musket, who is publishing a story on the rise of Matt Turner and his time with the Richmond Kickers. And we figured, since he has the audio of some of these interviews, maybe in addition to putting this article in print, we could do an audio form of that article for our podcast subscribers in case you don't see it on the website or on Twitter. You can listen to it as a podcast in case that's more convenient for you. So we want to hear feedback on this, and if you like this or if you have any story ideas in the future, so please let us know on Twitter at Revolution Recap. Our DMs are always open, or you can also message us on our Revolution Recap Instagram or Facebook, or you could email us directly at revolutionrecap@gmail.com. And before we get to the episode, thank you to our partners and sponsors. First, The Bent Musket. Make sure you follow them online, www.thebentmusket.com, and on Twitter at The Bent Musket. Please also follow Seth at SethMan31 on Twitter. Thank you to our friends at The Rebellion. Be sure to check out anyrebellion.org to learn more about them and how you can get involved with supporter culture. And thank you to our sponsor, Cowlishaw Kits. Remember, you can save 15% off your order at CowlishawKits.com with promo code REVSRECAP. And new item alert, they did add a new Revolution scarf to their inventory. So if you are into scarves, make sure you grab that before it is gone. And make sure you use the code REVSRECAP for 15% off. Please, if you haven't already, give us a review on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you are listening. And if you'd like bonus content like this and would like to hear more of it, you can support our podcast further by being a patron for as little as $1 a month at patreon.com/revolutionrecap. All of these links are in the show notes. Please be sure to support us and our partners, and thank you very much for listening.
As you can imagine, there are some articles at the Bent Musket that get many more hits than others. Such was the case with anything involving Matt Turner and Arsenal. Our staff quickly realized that Arsenal fans wanted to know more about the goalkeeper who will be arriving in July. Now, I've covered Matt Turner throughout his professional career, which began in 2016 when he signed a contract with the New England Revolution. I can tell you that the reigning MLS Goalkeeper of the Year is an unbelievable shot stopper. I can tell you that he's amazing with the media, always willing to give thoughtful answers to the questions that we ask. I can tell you that he's well liked in the locker room, and even took on the role of locker room DJ in 2019 when he was relegated to the bench. But my knowledge of Turner is all from his time as a starter for the New England Revolution. I was curious to learn who Matt Turner was before he was in the limelight. In 2016, Turner was the fourth-string goalkeeper behind Bobby Shuttleworth, Brad Knighton, and Cody Cropper. Shuttleworth left in 2017, but that didn't get Turner much closer to the field with the New England Revolution. Instead, he played for the Richmond Kickers, a lower division club who played in the United Soccer League. The Kickers were affiliated with DC United, a partnership that served them well because they could receive players that weren't getting minutes in Major League Soccer. The Kickers were expected to get a goalkeeper from DC until early season injuries to Bill Hamid and Andrew Dykstra changed the plans. Here's then head coach Leigh Cowlishaw to tell you the story.
I think 2016/2017, DC United had some injury problems with the goalkeeper position. And for us, we were a very small club and we're even smaller club when the championship started to bring in their multimillionaire owners and MLS focused ownership that wanted to get into MLS. So we were getting marginalized, no question. So it was a little bit of a money ball trying to figure out how to survive with player budgets, I don't know, 5-6 times less than some of the really big clubs. It was definitely all hands on deck and trying to be as creative as possible. Now, I had a relationship with Remy. I'd known him from his Virginia Beach days. And I'm pretty sure, you can check this, I'm pretty sure at that time, he was the goalkeeper coach. I know he moved into player development, but I think at that time, he was the goalkeeper coach. So I was just reaching out to several MLS clubs to see if there was a goalkeeper available. And he recommended Matt Turner.
Turner was far from a known commodity at this point. He had spent his college years at Fairfield University, but went undrafted when it came to the MLS draft. An unexpected phone call from then Revolution goalkeeper coach Remy Roy led to him signing with the New England Revolution. Matt Turner spoke about what those early years were like with the New England Revolution in an interview that he did with the podcast Orange Slices with Heath Pierce and Mark McKenzie.
I wasn't fully training. I was doing the goalkeeping portions of sessions with the Revs, And then whenever the goalie's integrated with the rest of the team to do small-sided or 11v11, whatever it was, my goalkeeper coach would pull me off to the side and just run me through more technique drills, more fitness drills, more touches on the ball with my feet, just run me into the ground. I was so like physically and mentally like challenging that I would almost hope that the Revs would release me. I was like, I can't work with this guy anymore.
So you were off to the side while everybody else was competing. You'd be off to the side doing individual work with a coach.
Exactly. And then I turn around and have to play a game. So it's like, yeah, I'm doing all this work, but I'm not really seeing the game. So I kind of have to find this within myself to get up for this moment and just try to relax. Get up, but also relax. Have fun, but also take it really seriously. It's like all these different things.
As Turner mentioned, the loan with Richmond was an interesting one because he would spend the week training with the New England Revolution before heading off to play a game with the Richmond Kickers. Oftentimes, Turner would only spend 1 or 2 days training with the Kickers before having to play a game. As you can imagine, this could be difficult for Turner because he's going to be in charge of telling the team what to do as the goalkeeper. However, Matt Turner's personality made it a seamless transition. People respected him, people liked him. Here's then goalkeeping coach Adrian Clewlow.
Yeah, he's playing at the time with a couple of his back four were pretty seasoned, experienced players, and there was one time he'd had a little bark at our right back for not getting back in time and not doing the work that was expected of him, and the right back had a go back at him, and Matt just said, even as the young guy with the seasoned guy, he'd just turn around and say, "Hey, we're all here to do a job. Everybody's doing theirs. You got to do yours. We need you." And at that point, it was just like, "Oh, we need you." It's not. And from that point, the right back just fell into line, did everything that was needed. Just the communication between the back four, especially between him and the centre backs. We had William Yombi at the time, who was a long-time USL player, lots and lots of it. Very experienced, and he would get on at Yombi as well and just, demand more of him. So there's nothing really specific. It was just the manner in which he communicated. It was commanding, it was demanding, but it encouraged more. That leadership aspect is taking people where they don't want to go and leading them and carrying them. And Matt did that as a young kid. I mean, it was unbelievable. That was the one thing that really stood out. The biggest thing was his leadership qualities. And even then I knew he was going to be something special.
Clewlow recognized early on that Matt Turner was a unique talent. He even remembers having a conversation where he joked that one day Matt Turner would be a part of the U.S. men's national team.
There was one training session, one of the first ones that we had, and he has MCT on his glove. I said, "Hey, what's that?" He goes, "Oh, it's my initials." I said, "Well, you should change it to FNT." And he kind of looked at me and was like, I said, "Future national team." And he said, "Oh, that's the goal, right?" I said, "Yeah, you want to get started?" He was just like, "Yes, let's go." He just has that drive, that determination, and he instilled that into the players that are around him.
Do you know if he ever put that onto his gloves?
No, I think he's still rocking the MCT. That was a little, water break, a little bit of a banter with him, getting to know him, and just, right from the start. He's always been a special keeper. The stories. He slipped through the net, but he is where he is, not because other people have helped him get there. He has earned everything he has earned.
Turner ultimately played 27 games for the Richmond Kickers. During that time, he grew as both a person and as a player. He gained a reputation as a hard worker and as a good person. Here's Leigh Cowlishaw with his final thoughts on Matt Turner.
But what I will tell you with Matt, I guarantee most people will say the same. You could see automatically that he was just a very outgoing, energetic, friendly individual that nobody is going to, not like. So he has that personality, right? And he's upbeat. So there was never any issues. And he never had any airs or graces regarding, wow, I'm coming from MLS. In fact, I think he was just as, probably even more so, more delighted to be there than some of the first teamers, because he's getting a chance to ply his trade. And for us, we've got some great atmospheres, right? So I'm a big believer, like, yes, you can play in the reserve team in front of 100 people, but when you're playing in front of 6,000 people for fans who are cheering for their home team, it means a lot more as well.
We now know that Matt Turner is a good person. We know he's a hard worker. We know he's a sponge, taking in new information and applying it to the field. We know that he's going to take every opportunity and make the most of it. But the real question is, how is Matt Turner's feet? Anyone who ever watched the U.S. men's national team play knows that the big talking point is Matt Turner and his ability to play the ball with his feet. Well, Clewlow got a first-hand look at Matt Turner and his progression as a goalkeeper who uses his feet.
He does have better feet, and to be honest, every goalkeeper in the world, even Edison, can still improve their footwork and they're playing with the feet. To be honest, it's something that you never fully, you can't say, yes, I've arrived. It's something that we've got to constantly, the game's constantly evolving, and every goalkeeper in the world could be better with their feet. But Matt certainly knew that was one of his shortcomings when he started the game, especially on his weaker foot. So Matt has definitely improved greatly on his ability to play with his feet, but he would be the first one to say, hey, I need work playing with my feet, especially on his weaker foot, which has improved as well. I think the biggest thing was his confidence with his feet, because he knew it was something he needed to work on. And then once he found that confidence, he was encouraged, hey, it's all right if you mess up. Let's go again. Let's dial it in. So always willing to work on the things that he needed work on.
Jay Heaps was the coach of the New England Revolution during the 2016 and 17 seasons. He remembers watching Matt Turner develop. He was impressed. This young goalkeeper was getting better every single day. He was a sponge. He was making the most of his opportunities. At one point, Heaps thought about giving Matt Turner a start, giving him an opportunity with the first team. It never happened. And it wasn't until Bradfield became coach of the New England Revolution that Turner got his chance in net. Looking back at Turner's development, Heaps is impressed at how far Turner has come.
There were many times where we were like, we should make this move. Like, he was doing enough in training where we were like, can we make this move? And it just, was he game tested enough? And I think that I'll be honest, if it would have been a different time in my arc, like where I was as a coach, like kind of where we were with Bobby and what we'd done with Bobby, if I could have had a fresher eyes on it and a little bit more leeway, he would have gotten us. I think he's exactly right. He was starting to show more. We just couldn't, was it the right time to pull the trigger to get him in there? And it wasn't with us. I mean, it probably was in terms of his arc, but man, coming in, winning it over. But I think by the time Brad got there, he had solidified that. You could already see the edge starting to come in, and then he solidified it. But he worked for it. I will give him, and he could his feet now. He could. I mean, he kicks the ball. I was in the Austin game. I went to the Austin qualifier against Jamaica when the U.S. played Jamaica in Austin, and I was watching. I was trying to get his attention. I texted him before the game and said I'd be there. But man, he was kicking. I was blown away by how the length, the strength in his leg and his ability, his technique has gotten so much better. It's been fun to see, because you don't just, you have to work for that. It doesn't just come to you. Like, you get your chances, those sometimes come to you, but he is exponentially better from when he got there. Talented, yes, but he worked on the finer points of his game, and I don't think there's a hole in his game. I really don't. I mean, I watch his, shot saving was always as good as it's, that's a lot of instinct, but his presence, his feet, his tactical awareness has definitely gotten better, and that's by doing hard work that he's done.
Turner's success is almost undoubtedly connected to his ability to work hard, but it also might be connected to his ping pong skills. Here's Jay Heaps again.
Say Matt Turner, I think he became the best goalie in the league because of his ping pong skills. There's no one can get a ball by Matt Turner. I'd say that, even on the ping pong court. He was the best defensive ping pong player I have ever seen. I think he had two paddles like this.
So here we are at the end of April, just 2 months away from Matt Turner heading overseas and joining Arsenal. The question is this the right move? Well, everything you've heard seems to indicate that it is. Matt Turner is going to make the most of every opportunity he's given. He's someone who works hard. He's someone who gets better. He's a nice person. And Clewlow thinks that Matt Turner will be the same person he was with the Richmond Kickers, even though he's now playing overseas in one of the Premier League's most storied clubs.
Yeah, he's be the same Matt that turned up to the Richmond Kickers 7 years ago. He's going to go, he's going to learn, he's going to develop and grow as a player. He can 100% be a Premier League goalkeeper, but now he's in Europe. He'll get a good routing over there, and I could see him going to Germany. That would be a good option. But yeah, he's going to do, I'm sure, what Zach Steffen's doing up at Man City. He'll take everything in. He'll be the sponge that he's always been, absorb information, grow as a player. And, anything's possible for Matt, especially with his personality. Super humble guy, super hardworking. And, it's the path is wherever he wants to take it, to be honest.
I wouldn't be surprised if some New England Revolution fans get a little upset, a little sad, a little misty-eyed after listening to the story. Well, if it makes you feel any better, I think the New England Revolution will always have a special place in Matt Turner's heart, because Richmond Kickers still has a special place in Matt Turner's heart.
I can tell you this, he was very nice to reach out to me, and I thanked him greatly when I moved out and retired a couple of years ago from coaching. That shows you how cool a kid is.
The goalkeeper union is a thick one. It's a strong one. So everybody that I've had contact with and trained and coached, we're just one big happy family. I spoke to Matt maybe 3 days ago. I dropped him a note after he got signed. There were all the rumors that he was going, and when it was finalized, I was just like, hey, stoked for you, best of luck, you deserve everything. He's like, cheers, Chloe, thanks, man. Love my time in Richmond. So yeah, we always keep in touch. It's not a regular thing, but it's always a reach out, and it's a respect thing. We were all in it together.
So this is the end. This is the story of Matt Turner before he was the Matt Turner that we know today. Before he was the reigning MLS Goalkeeper of the Year. Before he was the potential starter for the U.S. men's national team in the upcoming World Cup. But the reality is, it's the same Matt Turner. He's a hard worker. He's a good guy. He's an amazing shot stopper. He's someone who's always looking to get better. So if you haven't realized it yet, Arsenal fans, you're getting a good one. Enjoy. Thanks everyone for listening. Don't forget to rate and subscribe to Revolution Recap on the various platforms. If you're a fan, join them on Patreon. Even $1, $2 every single month goes a long way for the people that are working so hard for you. And if you're so inclined, follow me on Twitter at SethMan31. Take care, everyone.